Hello and welcome to this episode of Eagle's Eye. I'm your host, Chloe Kovinchick. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm joined with Ashland University's American Sign Language Club President, Emma Jordan. Emma, thank you for being here today. How are you?
I'm feeling really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. First off, what inspired you to learn American Sign Language?
I grew up learning American Sign Language at my house. My parents decided one day to buy us these little educational DVDs. I watched them a lot as a kid. I fell in love with it. Years later in high school, they offered us some ASL classes. I took them a little late into my high school career, but I loved the class. I flourished in it, and it was something I really wanted to pursue.
And then the ASL Club is relatively new to AU's campus. How did it start?
Originally, when I was interviewing here at Ashland University, I was told there was an American Sign Language Club, and that was a big factor as to why I came here. However, during my freshman semester, the club apparently had died out. The last president, when she graduated, no one took over, so the club unfortunately did not continue. So my fall sophomore semester, I started trying to get the club back up. It got approved, and I've been running it ever since.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit about your responsibilities of the president?
Of course. So the exec board right now is just me. So I'm in charge of a lot of things, leading the meetings, doing the social media posts, doing all the engaged stuff, and doing a lot of research on what I want to talk about during club meetings and communicating with other organizations as well. It is a lot, but I love doing this sort of stuff. I have this experience from a lot of other organizations I'm in, so I get a lot out of it, and I just love being able to provide experiences, both educational and fun, to other students.
That's great. And then what are some events that the ASL Club has put on this year?
This year, it's been a little light on events. There hasn't been a lot we have had the time to do, unfortunately. One event that we did do this semester was a collaborative event with aspiring educators. They've been a group I love working with, and I've wanted to work with them. We essentially did an event talking about classroom management styles with individuals who may be hard of hearing or deaf. We got to teach them some signs, talk about management strategies such as like how to set up your classroom, technologies you could use to assist students, and it was actually just a really fun night.
And then the ASL Club also focuses on deaf culture. What do you want people to take away after going to an event?
That is a really great question, because when I was talking about this club with a lot of other students, not a lot of people knew that deaf culture was a thing that existed, which makes me kind of sad because it's an amazing culture that I think a lot of people should learn about, or at least take the time to get a little bit of an understanding with. There's a lot of misconceptions about deaf culture. One I believe that a lot of people assume is that ASL is essentially just English, but in a more visual format. That's not the case, actually. ASL has its own unique grammar, structure, syntax, all the stuff that you would see with a different language. We just translate it differently in our heads and written as well to try to get a better understanding of it. But I've loved teaching it. I actually am lucky enough to do a class with the Homeschooling and Classical Learning Center where I teach ASL to homeschool kids. It's been really fun working with them. You get to teach them about the whole in-deaf culture. There's capital deaf versus lowercase deaf. That just essentially means someone who is capital D deaf is someone who is deaf and has no assistive technology, while a lowercase deaf individual is someone who may have like a cochlear implant or a hearing aid. So that's a big difference. And there's so much you could learn about the deaf culture if you take the time to look into it. As a hearing person, there's only so much I can speak of, and I'm always going to get something wrong. So it's always something I encourage like the people in my club to do their research, find very reliable sources, and just take the time to learn.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then what is one goal you have for the spring semester?
Definitely more collaborative events. I'm making a list right now and getting into contact with some organizations. Eagles for Pride is one. I would so love to work with UNIDAD because there's different variations of sign language from all around the world. A fun fact is that American Sign Language was derived from French Sign Language. So, and I know from some of my high school experiences, there are different Latin American versions of sign language that I would love to do an event with them for, and I'm still planning so much. I'm going to be spending my winter vacation just creating events and submitting them as fast as I can on Engage.
That's really great. And then how can someone learn more about joining the Sign Language Club?
The best way to find out is by going on our Engage page. There you can find the link to our Instagram page. You can always feel free to message it because then you'll be talking to me. I will respond as quickly as possible. And if you just ever see me on campus, just talk to me about it. I would love to yap with someone about it, as I always say. It's just something fun to talk about, and the more people who come up to me asking to learn about it, it just brings me a lot of joy.
Emma, thank you for joining us today and raising awareness about the American Sign Language.
Of course, thank you so much for having me.
That wraps up this episode of Eagle's Eye. Be sure to follow us across all social media at AUTV Ashland. Until next time, I'm Chloe Kovinchick. Thanks for watching.